Hello everyone, welcome back to the stream. So I hope I am audible and visible to you. And today's question is isomorphic string. Okay, let us wait for some of these people to join so that we can start today's session. Okay, and today is a very important and very fundamental question. Okay, so basically we need to check whether two strings are isomorphic or not. Okay, so that is the question, and let us wait for this so that we can start with the today's string. Okay. Till then you can just watch this.
Hello everyone, this is Mohan Bishnoi from GeeksforGeeks, and there is a small announcement to make. Actually, we are going to be starting a stream on strings that is going to be happening from Monday to Friday 3 to 4 p.m. In this stream, we will be discussing about from very basics, we will be covering the topics in strings that are important for interview preparations, and then we will be moving to the advanced question. So do join us 3 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hello everyone, this is Mohan Bishnoi from GeeksforGeeks, and there is a small announcement to make. Actually, we are going to be starting a stream on strings that is going to be happening from Monday to Friday 3 to 4 p.m. In this stream, we will be discussing about
So basically I hope it is visible to you. So this is the problem which we are going to be talking about today. Okay, so basically the problem name is check if two strings are isomorphic or not. So this is the question. Okay, let us read this question. So basically in this we will be given two strings s1 and s2, and we need to check whether they are isomorphic or not. And what are isomorphic? Isomorphic are those in which there is one-to-one mapping for every character of S1 to every character of STR2. Okay, and all the occurrence of characters in STR1 maps to same character in STR2. Okay, so that is the question. And when we go down, we are given examples to understand it properly. So you can see we have given this one. Okay, so here we are given STR1, that is AAB, and we are given str2. Okay, so that is x and y. Okay, and you can see the output which it is showing is true. Okay, and we have another input which is a b, and that is another str2 is this xyz, and the output for this is false. Okay, and for this input the output is true. So basically how we are going to be solving is we are going to be using a map. Okay, so basically when we think about this question, okay, so for example let us take this AAB and XXY. Okay, so it is very simple to understand that we are going to be using mapping because we need to map these two characters. And let's see how we can basically come up with this solution. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to be jumping and opening this. So you can see we are in this coding area. So let me just remove this so that we can write our logic here. So basically how we are going to be solving is, so you can see first thing is that we have A, B and we have X, Y, Z. Okay, so in this how we are going to be doing is we have A, B, right? So first thing what I'm going to be doing is I will be mapping A with my X. Okay, A and X. So this is basically from str1, this is basically from str2, and when I'm mapping with AX, okay, when I'm going to be mapping with AX, then I'll be just storing this in my map in which A is this key and value is X. Then I'm just going to be going to another thing which is again the same thing, which is AX. So I'll be just looking into my this map, and I'll be checking whether A is mapped to X. Okay, if it is mapped to X, then I'm not going to be doing anything, just continuing. Okay, and then I'll be just going to the third one, which is B, and I'll be checking B is not already present in our map. So what I'm going to be, I'm just going to be inserting it, and I'll be just giving the by. Okay, let us see how we can use this logic. So basically we have this B which is mapped to Y. Okay, and then we'll be just checking here that B is mapped to Y, right? So and it is not present anywhere, so I'll be just putting in this map. Okay, so one thing we need to make sure is that I'm going to be that is again a test case. Okay, I'll be just working on that once we are working on this simple logic. Okay, so basically we have this map. We are going to be creating a map. Okay, this is our key, the value. I'll be just trying to map all those values which are new. If suppose if I have something like a b, and then I have something like here instead of this one I'll be having something like xyz. So I have xyz. Now I'll be having a mapped to x, then I'll be having a mapped to y, and then you can see whenever I'm going to be seeing that a is mapped to y which is not equals to this one, so in that case I'll be just returning false. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing. And one thing we need to make sure that we are not mapping to the same value. For example, if I'm going to be seeing that b is not present in our map and I'll be trying to map it to x, so that is not true. That is not the condition. We basically in this case we'll just need to return false basically, because for one key, for one value I have two keys, okay, which is incorrect. So I don't want to do that. So we'll be seeing how we can avoid this condition. Okay, so let us jump to the question now, and let us try to build the logic from this. So I'll be just keeping this thing on the left. I'll be just removing all the things on the right. Can we increase the size of the eraser? Not sure. Let me just remove this. Okay, so we have removed all this which we don't want, and I'll be just keeping things on the right so that I can see, and you all can see and try to build some logic there. Okay, so let's start. So first thing, I'll be just increasing the size. So first thing is I'll be just taking the boilerplate, and first thing I'm just going to be making two strings. So first we have string str1, okay, with values something like a b for our first case, test case. Then I'll be making again our string 2, which is this one, and I'm going to be calling that as xxy. Okay, and what I'm going to be all the time, I used to do something like this. If my check function with this str1 and str2 returns true, then in this I'll be just writing yes, they are polymorph. They are basically isomorphic, not polymorph. Okay, then we'll be having something like else condition, in which I'll be writing cout no. Okay, so this is my else condition. So why it is showing something like this? Okay, we don't have something. Okay, now it's good. Now we have made our function. Check function basically checks whether str1 and str2 are isomorphic or not. So for that I'll be just writing my function up. I'll be writing bool check function, and in this I'll be just passing str1, and in place of str I'll be also passing str2 as a parameter. So first thing we can anyone can tell that if we have length are unequal, for example in this case, suppose the input was something like this. The input is something a, okay, let me just reduce this size, go back, take the smaller size, little bigger. So suppose I have input like a, b, and another input is x, y, z. Okay, so if the length of these two strings are not equal, in that case what we can say that they both are not isomorphic basically. So that is the first condition. Okay, the first condition is that length are unequal. So in that case let us try to write that first. So we have first we are going to find the length. So how we can find the length? I'll be calling L1 for my string 1, and I'll be using str1.size function instead of length, both you can use, and we have L2 for string 2 dot size. Okay, now we have found the first and second value. Now what we are going to do, we are just going to be writing that condition in which we'll be just checking our length, that if L1 is not equals to L2. So in that case, what I'm going to be returning, I'm just going to be returning false. Okay, so that is that. Now what things other I'm going to be doing? Okay, so I'll be just writing all these things in else condition. Okay, because first I need to check whether they are equal or not. If they are not equal, then they return false. Otherwise, what you can do is go into this one. Okay, and if you want, we can just remove this also. That doesn't matter much. So we just to make it cleaner, I'll be not writing else condition. And first thing is that we are going to be making a map. Okay, so let me just here what I'll be doing is I'll be creating a key value pair. Okay, this is my map in which I'll be storing the values. So you can see for the first value I'll be just pushing A, and in this I'll be pushing Y. Okay, so let's see how we can do that first. So we have checked the length are equal, so let us do. So first I'm going to be creating a map. So there are two options. I can create a map, normal map, that is self DSTs and self balancing DSTs. Another thing is we can make another map, so which basically gives us order of one searching operation. So that we'll be using. So I'll be using this another map. The first will be characters, second is also characters, and I will be calling that as UM. Okay, now we have created that. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be traversing this. Okay, let us traverse this string 1 and string 2. First I'm going to be traversing only the string 1, and how I'm going to be doing this, I'll be starting with index 0, I'll be going up to n, or basically in this case is L1 for that, because L1 and L2 are equal, so we can take any one of them. So L1 and L2 doesn't matter. So first thing is I'm just going to be checking. Okay, I'll be just finding this whether this A is present in map or not, this key value, this key thing. If this A is already present in my map, so I'll not be pushing anything in my this one map. Else if it is not present, for example in first you can see initially how it will be something like this. Okay, it will be something like this, nothing is there in this. Okay, so for the first condition, what I'm going to do, we are going to be checking that if my unordered map, I'll be using find function. In this, what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be passing my str1 of I. If this is not present, which means not equals to, if it is present, okay, so if it is not present means I'll be doing something like this, or I'll be just writing not equals to, which means the value is present. Okay, so I'll be writing empty.end, which means it is not pointing, which means it is present. If it is present, then we'll be doing some logic here. I'll be just writing logic. Okay, and in else condition, what we'll be doing, in else condition we'll be just pushing the elements, right? We'll be pushing the element in our map. So I'll be writing another map of str1 of my I equals to str2 of I. Okay, str2 of I. So you can see we have this str1. Okay, this is my str1, this is my str2. Okay, and you can see we have this one, right? We are here, so you can see this A is not present in this, so it will not be going into this because we have already not found, we don't find if we are finding anything, which means it is not present. So in this you can see we will be going in else condition. Okay, if this is true means it is not pointing to the end, which means they have got something, they have got already A. So in this we will be doing this. If they don't get anything related to the A, then we are going to be pushing into our this map. So I'll be pushing str of mp of str of I, which is A, equals to str of I, str2 of I, which is x. This value is pushed into this. Okay, now for the second, that is for I equals to 1. Okay, for I equals to 1, it is again going to be checking. And how it is going to be checking now if it is going to be going into this, then it will be going into this, because we have already found A with some values. Okay, we have already found str of 1, which is present here. So what I am going to be doing, I am going to be checking that first I am going to be taking that value. So I will be taking auto it. Okay, auto it equals to I am writing um dot find operation for my str1 of I, and once I found that, I'll be just writing this condition that if whatever, suppose this it will be pointing to this, if it is present, then I'll be checking that my second value of it should be equals to my this str2. Okay, so that is what I'm going to be writing. So I'm just going to be writing if str basically if it dot basically arrow I am using because we have pointer this time. So if it is not equals to str2 of I, okay, str2 of I, so in that case I'll be returning false. Okay, else it will be just continuing because it's not going to be entering, which means they are equal. Okay, and for the third time, which is this one B, so you can see this is we are going to be finding this basically is not present, so it is going to be not getting into this. Okay, so it will be just going into this, and it will be just storing the value for B and Y. Okay, and once we are done that, we are just going to be, this is our boolean function, right? So here we are just going to be returning true. Okay, so let us try to run the code. For now we can just erase this and let us try to run the code. You can see we are getting yes in this case. If we are just going to be getting this, okay, if we are just instead of B, I am going to be getting C. So if I try to run this code, for this also it is showing yes, but one tricky part is this, that whenever I am going to be giving other than X, suppose I am just giving Y. Okay, so in this case also it will be showing yes only. Okay, so for this it is showing X only, but this value, for example this B, can also be mapped to X. Okay, so that is what we don't want. Okay, so you can see for this also it is showing yes. I hope you have got what is the test case, the edge case here is this, that if we are mapping with some characters, we don't want other str1 characters to also be mapping to that same character. For example, here we have this A is mapping to X, that's fine. A is also mapping to X, that's totally fine because A is same. But when we talk about B is also mapping to X, so that's not true. Instead of that, we can take all the values other than X. Okay, so that is what we are going to be doing. So how we are going to be doing this is, we'll be keeping a note of on this one all the characters. So I'll be just making a array of characters basically, okay, 2 to 6 characters, and in this I'll be just making note that this is already been taken or not as a value. If this character is already taken, so you cannot do this thing. Okay, so I'll be just taking note that. So what I'm going to be doing, so I'll be just creating a vector. Okay, so here I'll be just creating a vector here. So vector, just create a proper vector, and in this I'll be just writing characters because we are dealing with characters here. So we have created a vector for create this one. I am calling this V, with the 256 values, okay, and all values to be -1 for now. Okay, so that is totally fine. Now we have 256 characters from 0 to 255 basically, and we have all values to be -1 because in the initially we don't have these values. Now whenever we are inserting into the map, okay, whenever we are inserting into a map, where we are also inserting into this vector b, okay, which basically will be helping us to know whether that element is mapped to someone else or not. For example, I'll be just writing my v of, okay, my v of str2, which is value str2 which is value, okay, equals to 1, okay, and I hope you have got what we are doing. Let us take example and try to understand. So we have this a b, then we have x y. So for this case it will be returning true, which is no doubt correct. But whenever we have something like instead of this x, suppose if we have y, instead of this y we have x, so for this case it will be returning false. So what we have done, we have created an array, all the values are -1, we are calling this as vector v, and we have 256 characters here, all possible characters. Now whenever I am pushing this a, whenever I am mapping this a with x, what I am doing, I am just going to be updating this in our this one. So at whatever position this x is present in our 256 character, suppose it is present here, for the x I will be just putting 1 here, okay. Now what I am going to be doing, whenever I am going to be basically now 1 is done. Now again whenever I am doing a, which is mapping to this, again checking for the this one x, I will be checking before pushing element. If I have something like if it is -1, then only I will be pushing this value, else I will be showing this one false. So if my v of str2 equals to -1, okay, so in that case only I'll be doing this operations. So first operation that I'll be just making that as 1. The second operation is I'll be just updating into my map, okay. If it is if it is not -1, which means we are trying to add the value which is already added, so in that case I'll be just returning false, okay. So that is the condition which we want to give here. I don't think so we have to add anything more than that. So let us try to run the code and see the output. For example, in this case we should get basically false, okay. So there is some errors. Try to run the code. Let me just try to see. We can make this as integer. So there are some issues. Let me just make this small so that I can see. So this is okay. This is again fine, but we need to make this as characters, I think. So we have 256 characters, all values are as -1, okay. And then we have this L1 chip, and the first thing is this one. If str2, if we have str2 equals to -1, then only we are going to be adding that, updating our v of str. So here we have this one which is incorrect, okay. V of str2 of I, okay. So here we got just making mistake, and again we have str2 equals to 1, then we are going to be updating that, else condition will be returning false, Okay, so you can see for this it is showing no. Okay, so that is true because we have this as a. Okay, we have this a b. Now we have x, we have again x, we have again x. Okay, so you can see we have this one. So basically we want to just tell them that we cannot update this x because in this array, this at the position of x it is already 1 now. So if it is already 1, which means we cannot allocate this x to the other than a. Okay, so basically when is this condition going to be checking? Whenever we are not finding, whenever we have new entries. For example, if a is already been entered into x, so we have already made that as 1 here in this case. Okay, and again we are going to be checking for a, which means we have got it here, so we'll be just not worrying about the condition. Now whenever we are adding new element, that is b in this case, so you can see it will be just checking. Okay, if we just give another input, for example for b will be getting c, so for this it will be going to show us yes. Okay, so that was it of the program. Okay, isomorphic, and there's an assignment problem. So what is this? So basically just let me just remove this, and so here we have seen that we have deal with the characters only. For example, we are just checking, for example, for this one ABA. So if it is something like XYX, so it is returning true. So this is similar to problem this one only. So but the exception is this, that instead of this characters we'll be having strings here. For example, we are going to be writing food instead of a, and b is, and again if food. Okay, so this is basically this one. Okay, for this it should also return true. Suppose it is something like geeks, for geeks, so it should also return true in this case. Okay, so that is there. This is again a similar type of problem, and in this, instead of writing this one, instead of having characters, we'll be having this geeks here. Okay, so that is the assignment problem. So here we have used maps for our characters, comma characters, but here you can see we'll be using strings. We need, this will be just given into something like a string, as a string will be given, and we just need to take all the values from this, separated by this space. And how you can do that? You can use tokenization methods, which I have already discussed in the last stream. Tokenization, if you don't watch, just go and watch. So basically how we are going to be doing, we'll be having a, and first thing we'll be just mapping with geeks. And for mapping with geeks, what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be tokenizing this string s. Okay, and I'll be just storing in some vectors, which I'll be creating vectors of strings v, and I'll be just tokenizing and all, getting all the elements here. So in this v, it will be having something like x, then we'll be having for, and we'll be having x. Okay, all these elements will be present there. And what I'm going to be doing, I'm just going to be telling a is stored in the, mapped with the geeks. Then again I'm going to be updating my another value, or I can say in my set I can store them, which will again be doing the same thing, which will be telling whether this value is already present or not. Okay, so if it is already present, means basically we will be creating a set and be checking into that value. Okay, for example, now the set is empty. Now if we are mapping this to geeks, okay, so that's totally fine. We can make that map as a is mapped with the geeks. Okay, so that's correct. And also doing with this, whenever we are pushing into map, we'll be also pushing into our this one set. Okay, and again whenever we will be doing for the next operation, which is this one b, okay, we'll be seeing that b is not basically present in our map. So what we'll be doing, we'll be trying to push this element, and we'll be checking that whenever we are trying to map with the y, we'll be checking that y is present in our set or not. If it is not present, then only we'll be adding into this. If it is already present, which means we are trying to get the value with the same value. For example, we are trying to give geeks for the B also, which is false. So in that case, I'll be just returning false. If it is not present, so I'll be adding is in my basically for in my this set, and then trying to map this for. So I'll be just trying to map it for. Then whenever we are talking about the C or basically A again, then I will be checking that if it is present, if it is geeks or not. If it is not geeks, so we'll be just returning false. Otherwise, if it is geeks, then so here is this one, and for this it will be just returning true. Okay, and then else condition will be returning false. So I hope the question was very clear to all of you. Okay, and if you have any doubts, you can always ask in the question. So yesterday only I have discussed the things how we can basically convert the string. For example, if we are given some strings like strs as something like geeks, and we have space, then we have for, then we have space, then we have geeks. So if you want to convert this into vectors, and we need to be storing something like this. Okay, something like this, x for x. So if you want to convert this into this, then I'll be using two ways. One was C style, which I already told how we'll be using str top. Okay, we'll be creating a character pointers, then we'll be calling that as something like str, then we'll be using str function. In this we'll be passing over string, and I'll be passing the single quoted, basically double quoted in this, because C doesn't support single quoted. So you will be writing double quotes for this function. Okay, once we are done that, we'll be just using our while loop. Okay, and the condition in this, it will be something like while str not equals to null. Okay, and here I'll be writing something like first will be just printing that. Suppose I'm just printing instead of pushing. So if you want to push all these vectors, so I'll be creating a vector of strings, and I'll be calling that as v, and I will be just pushing v dot push back my str, and again I'll be writing something str equals to str tok, then I'll be pushing null, which tells basically this function to again get the new pattern, a new this one string with the spaces around that. So basically this will be just continue finding other strings, and this is how we will be pushing all the elements here. And the other way for doing the same thing is using string stream. Okay, create a string stream, call that as s, push the string which you want to convert into this array. So for example, I have this str string str equals to this one, geeks for geeks. Okay, so suppose I have this element. If I just want to convert into this one, so I'll be adding string stream s str. Then what I'm going to do, I'll be using this getLine function, and instead of taking from console input, what I'm going to do, I'll be just taking from my s. I'll be storing in my vector, or basically in a string. Okay, so I'll be just calling that as a string temporary, and in this I'll be storing temporary, and with the spaces between them. Okay, and once I'm doing that, I'll be just pushing my v dot push back this temporary string. Okay, that's it. So this is again method using string stream. Okay, instead of writing console input, we'll be using this one. Okay, so this is the second way. In this, we basically is the vector which shows basically strings, and we can call that as v. So I hope that was clear to all of you how we can be solving this problem. Okay, so all things have been provided to you. We know what is the approach. We know how to convert the strings. The input is something input output I have already shown. Okay, so that was all about today's stream. Okay, so tomorrow again we'll be solving interesting problems. First I'll be just in the first 5-10 minutes I'll be just explaining this how we'll be solving this problem. Okay, and then we'll be talking about the problem for tomorrow. Okay, that will be new and exciting problem. So that's it for this stream. Okay, thank you for watching. If you liked, please hit the like button. Okay.
Hello everyone, this is Mohan Bishnoi from GeeksforGeeks, and there is a small announcement to make. Actually, we are going to be starting a stream on strings that is going to be happening from Monday to Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. In this stream, we will be discussing about from very basics, we will be covering the topics in strings that are important for interview preparations, and then we will be moving to the advanced question. So do join us 3 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hello everyone, this is Mohan Bishnoi from GeeksforGeeks, and there is a small announcement to make. Actually, we are going to be starting a stream on strings that is going to be happening from Monday to Friday, 3 to 4 p.m. In this stream, we will be discussing about from very basics, we will be covering the topics in strings that are important for interview preparations, and then we will be moving to the advanced question. So do join us 3 to 4 p.m. Monday to Friday. Hello everyone, this is Mohan Bishnoi from GeeksforGeeks, and there is a small announcement to make. Actually, we are going to be starting a stream on strings that is going to be happening